What is up, YouTube? So today I wanted to share my optimized end of the world 1-4 rotation as an Adele. I want to share this because from levels 255 to level 271, this is going to be the best place for you to farm mesos and node stones, droplets, familiars, all of that good stuff as an Adele. And there's a lot of levels in that range, and if you decide to spend all of those levels here, as opposed to going to Cernium or burning Cernium to make EXP, you're going to spend a lot of time here. You're going to have a lot of totems dedicated to training here. And in my philosophy, you might as well make the most of it and make the best rates that you can. I make some of the best rates that I've ever seen as an Adele here, and I think that that is due to some small optimizations I've made on top of the well-known 1-4 rotation that many people have already seen. I'm going to link that video in the video description below so that I give credit where credit's due, because that's where I got my start as well. But as I was doing that rotation, I was able to find some small optimizations on top of it to improve both the kill rotation and the loot rotation to clear mobs more efficiently, guarantee full map clears, and effectively get even better rates than what are captured in that rotation. So what I'm going to do in this video is first I'm going to show the rotation without explaining it and without talking over it, so that you guys, for those of you who just like to see it and not have to listen to someone explain it, you can do that. And then I'm going to go into a detailed explanation of both the kill rotation and the loot rotation to describe what it is that I'm doing that makes this rotation a little bit more optimal and a little bit more effective in full map clearing. So without further ado, let's go right into it. We're going to just watch the rotation for a little bit until I get to my loot rotation. Okay, so now that I've shown the demonstration, I am going to just explain in more detail what it is that I do that makes this rotation a little bit more optimal than other ones you may have seen. So I start off here because in this part of the rotation, actually let me go back a little bit further so I can show a full loot rotation as well. Yeah, I can see myself using Storm, so that was after the loot rotation already started, right here. Yeah, right here. So this little area, it's hard to see because there's so much stuff going on, and that's one of the reasons why I want to do this explanation, because there's so many swords flying around. As an Adele, it's hard to see what you're doing sometimes. This is the place where I place my totem. This is the place where I kind of treat as like the headquarters of this map. I always want to return here and think of this place as where the cycle starts and begins, starts and ends. So from here, as I'm moving from the right to the left, right, I do this cleave, I jump over, and I cleave all the way into the left corner. And so this differs from the traditional Adele rotation in that the traditional one has you stopping right around here on this platform. I don't like that because you will not hit these mobs that are in the left corner. As you can see, they're very far off to the left, and if you just stand here and cleave, you will miss. Even your weapon aura will not necessarily hit it if you're casting it from here, and so there's not really any way to hit these mobs if they're all the way in the left and you're standing right here. So what I like to do is I just jump all the way into the left and I just cleave, because this is just a more reliable way of killing these mobs. I know some people like to cast Lucid Soul. I don't, because all Lucid Soul does is aggro the mobs, but the cast time is so slow that it reduces your ability to more efficiently go back to the right side of the map to kill more efficiently. Because if you place Lucid here, that's still not going to aggro the mobs over here. And then if you place Lucid here, that means you have to actually jump over here, spend time to cast Lucid, and even then it's not 100% uptime, so it's not really guaranteeing the kill, right? So I prefer using this method of just jumping into the left, because here when I cleave, I feather float, I jump cleave, which covers this entire left corner, I jump cleave, and then I feather float back onto this platform, which gets me back there immediately, and I can just restart the rotation from there. Okay, so as you can see, I did this Impale Resonance Rush to the right, and that got me back to the headquarters, right? This central location that I was talking about earlier where I placed the totem. So let's go back and watch that again. I'm gonna go back a couple of rotations. Yep, so right here, jump cleave, feather flow out. That covers this left corner, and it gets me right back onto this platform. If you notice, I actually like to position myself like right where this portal is, because if I'm too far to the left, I won't reach the platform. And if I'm too far to the right, if I flash jump from the place where I land, if I flash jump to the right as I continue the rotation, I'm prone to fall off the platform on the right, and I don't want that, because that'll mess up the rotation, right? So if I just use this as kind of like a marker of where I want to be, this will get me to right around here, and then from there I can flash jump to the right without having to worry about any of that. So I feather float, land right there, flash jump to the right, I cleave, I impale res rush to the right, and then here I cast a cleave as I'm jumping up, because if you cast cleave before you hit the peak of your jump, your cleave will actually hit all three of these platforms. It's such a big hitbox when you use it as you're rising up. So if I can slow that down, sorry for the video stutter. Right there, slow that down. Okay, so I actually did not do it perfectly there. I didn't time it perfectly, but that's why you have your hunting decree swords out as well, right? Because those will help pick up some of the stragglers that you miss. Here, so just to recap, the optimization on the left side is casting feather flow after jumping all the way into the bottom left corner, so you cover those mobs there, right? On the right side, when you're waiting for the next wave of mobs to respawn, you cast Magic Dispatch, right? Magic Dispatch will give you these 5 additional swords that they cast before the mobs spawn, but it will wait until the mobs spawn and then go and fire at the mobs that have just spawned, right? And the reason why I like this is because it allows you to essentially only cast 1 cleave on this right and immediately start jumping to the left. If you don't cast Magic Dispatch, you actually need to cast 2 cleaves to reliably hit all of the mobs on the bottom and all of the mobs on the top, right? Because that jump cleave method, it's not going to hit mobs if they're all the way in the bottom right corner or if they're all the way in the top right corner. So Magic Dispatch alongside your Hunting Decree swords and alongside the 1 cleave that you do will just give you additional kill power to more efficiently clear all of those mobs without you having to stay here for too long and cleave a bunch of times. So I cast Magic Dispatch. As you'll see, it like kind of just homing missiles the mobs on the top right there. And as I'm jumping over, I cleave again in that direction, and that just kills the rest of them. So let's just go back a little bit. Feather float, impale res rush. I jump cleave there. And then while I'm waiting for the next wave, I cast Magic Dispatch, homing missile, boom, jump over to the left and restart. All right, and that's it for the kill rotation. So let's go back and just watch that again. I'll start from the right. So I jump over, jump all the way into the corner, feather float, impale res rush, cleave, Magic Dispatch. Kills Magic Dispatch, goes and hits all of those. Move over to the right again, or left again. You see Magic Dispatch there? That one's really a good example. So I think I went back a little bit too far. Impale Res Rush. Magic Dispatch here. As those mobs spawn, you see how I cleave and that kills all of the mobs here, but that's not going to reach those mobs up top. And so as I'm jumping away, this cleave is going to hit some of these mobs. Oh god, that video quality. But it's not necessarily going to hit that top right mob, if it's a little bit off to the right. And so that Magic Dispatch just helped take care of those mobs up there. All right, and so that's the kill rotation. So if we just continue on for a little bit, we'll get to the loot rotation. Once again, Magic Dispatch. Okay, so here, yep. So this is where I start the loot rotation. As I'm coming from the left over to the right, and I notice that my Storm is off cooldown. I use Storm as a basically as a loot timer because it's 90-second cooldown. And when I cast it, it also helps kill mobs as I'm moving through the map to pick up all my Mesos. It's just like the perfect loot rotation skill. When I notice that it's off cooldown, as I'm moving from the left over to the right, once I get right here, I turn around and I cast Rain of Destruction right here. So I think, yep, I already casted it. And as soon as I casted it, I like sprinted over to the right? Because I want to waste no time while this is up. Because this is going to take care of these 3 platforms right here while I deal with the right side. So once I get here, this sequence is really important. I get here, I cleave as I usually do, and then I cleave as I usually do. I cast first my totem to refresh it. Then I cast Shardbreaker, which if I use my totem first in a prime channel, Shardbreaker will activate right about the time that the next wave of mobs respawns. So that way I'm not missing, I'm not like casting Shardbreaker and hitting nothing. I do the totem first, which gives me that extra bit of time for the mobs to respawn. Shardbreaker will clear the next wave of mobs. Boom. And then I immediately use Storm to summon my Storm. I jump down, jump to the right, pets loot everything on the bottom. So I teleport up, I walk a little bit to the right so that my pets will follow me and they will loot this corner. It's just a way to kind of guide the AI. And then I jump over, I plummet down to reach the ground as quickly as possible. I cast Ruin, which will take care of this entire right side and this entire middle section while I deal with the left side. Then I flash jump to the left. And so this part is a little different from the typical rotation. Some people like to do the diagonal res rush up. I actually like to flash jump over and then res rush straight up, because this way, as I'm doing this Impale Res Rush, my pets will follow me into this area and just loot all of the Mesos here. So I go up and then I flash jump over. I kind of walk to the edge right here to give my pets a little bit time to catch up. And then I jump down, and I jump down. This part's actually important. If you walk off, your pets might walk off with you and they won't loot the top Mesos as efficiently because there's going to be a lot of Mesos aggregated right here. I jump off because during that time, it just gives them a little bit of extra time to loot some of those Mesos. So let's just go back and watch this entire sequence. Shardbreaker, Storm, teleport up, walk a little bit, flash jump over, plummet, Ruin, Impale Res Rush up, get that top plat. And you see they still miss some Mesos. This just happened to be kind of a laggy day for me in terms of Meso looting, but that's okay. Sometimes you miss some, but as long as you're killing efficiently, you'll more than make up for it. So so basically once I get here, I jump down and I flash jump into the corner, and my Storm will kill everything here so that my pets will loot this corner. And then right at this time, as I'm moving over to the right again, the next wave of mobs will respawn. And all I have to do is just flash jump along the bottom of the map, and Storm, with its big ass hitbox, will just kill all of the things that are in its path. And once I get here, I Impale Res Rush in diagonally up to the middle platform, back to where I start, and then I jump into the right to loot all of the Mesos right there. And that's it. That's essentially the quickest way and most efficient way of looting all of the Mesos on the platforms that you don't usually touch. while at the same time clearing the entire map. Like this way you actually don't miss a single mob. So putting that all together, it's just feather floating in the bottom left, magic dispatch right here. I cast Infinity here because my BA was about to end and I wanted to just do a lot more looting to actually get all of the Meso bags before the BA ended, to see how much Meso I can get. But if we skip to the end of this, I actually failed to loot everything. There's actually a ton of Meso on the ground. But you'll see that even despite that, I'm going to end it exactly at 1 hour. So you see how there's tons of Mesos here, tons of Mesos here, and then it's already at 59 there, 1 hour. So at the 1 hour mark, there's a ton of Mesos on this side of the map. There's a ton of Mesos on the ground. There's a ton of Mesos up here, and I haven't looted any of that yet. But I've accomplished 24.5k, essentially 24.5k mobs defeated, and 940 mil. As a caveat, I will say that I actually have 15 Meso Inner, which means that if you have 20 Meso Inner, you're actually going to make even higher rates than this. And as I've demonstrated here, if I had started looting a little bit earlier, I actually would have pushed this up probably to 950. Just to give you an example of the best rates I've ever gotten, where is that? This is the BA from the best rates I've ever gotten using this exact rotation. I got 965 million Mesos during that hour. And with 15 Meso Inner, 965 is insane, because that means with 20 Meso Inner, you can get up to 980. You just, with the same thing, if you just change it to a 20 Meso Inner, it's 980 plus, and that's approaching 1 bill per hour, which is just as best as you can humanly do in this map, given the constraints of the spawn and all of that. So I truly believe that this is a very, very good rotation, and I haven't thought of any ways to improve it, but if anybody has any ideas, please feel free to share those. But yeah, so if I just let this video finish, get to the end, I show off this rotation, or so I show off this BA, which ended at 940, a little bit lower in terms of the Meso and the EXP and all of that, but yeah, this is as optimal of a rotation as I can think of. And hopefully this is helpful to all of you Adeles out there who plan on spending tons of time in End of the World 1.4, because it is my personal philosophy that if you're going to pop a totem and spend 2 hours of your life cleaving back and forth, that you might as well make as much money as you can out of it. I like to listen to audiobooks because that doesn't distract me from my loot rotations, but at the same time I'm doing something else that is a little bit more interesting than just staring at the same loot rotation all the time. But you know, to each their own. But yeah, if you have any questions that I didn't cover in this video, please feel free to leave a question in the comment section below. Like the video if it was helpful, share it with all of your Adele friends, and subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of content, because I do have other optimized rotations as well for some Cernium and Burning Cernium maps that I used to train up to level 270. I was getting really, really good rates there as well. And so if you're into that, stay tuned for more. But that's it for this one, and I'll see you guys next time.